सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। We have seen till the 56th shloka. When Arjuna asks, Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava sthitadih kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. In answering Arjuna's question, Bhagavan wants to impress not just Arjuna, but through Arjuna to all of us who are studying the Bhagavad Gita. Reaching to the highest, reaching to the inner core of our own being is not an accident. If you have seen Kavi Kalidasa and his story, it almost feels like Kalidasa, Tenali Ramakrishna, that they happened to be around that place where suddenly something happened and turned out to be a blessing, that they had Devi Darshana and they became suddenly, it is shown as though it is by sheer mere accident. So we also have a very strong virgin imagination, wherein we think, what if something like that magical happens and my life completely turns around? Exceptions prove the rule. Exceptions cannot become the rule. Every single sadhaka has to put the effort to raise above one's own limitations. And there is no shortcut to that. Dukkheshu anudvignamanaha sukheshu vigataspruhaha vita raga bhaya krodhaha sthitadhihi munihi uchyate. This sthiradhi, the one who has equipoised intellect, such one is called a muni, a mananashila, a prayatnavan, the one who has put the effort to raise above. It was not like a mistake that happened and suddenly he is now realized. Because such stories seem to attract our attention far more than what logically makes sense. So what is the effort that this individual sadhaka has put to raise to that level? Vita raga bhaya krodhaha. They have consciously worked on themselves to grow out of their own likes and dislikes, raga and dvesha. They have worked on their own fears, and they have worked on the baser emotions like krodha and the rest of them. How do we understand that they have raised above it and they have reached to that equanimity within? Dukkheshu anudvigna manaha sukheshu vigata spruhaha. When there is an experience which brings in a lot of sorrow, they do not get shaken up from within. And when there is a lot of prosperity and lot of good that happens, they don't lose their balance. They don't lose their anchor. They are anchored in. There is a very beautiful tradition in Maharashtra. It starts from Pune and it goes all the way to a place called Alandi. Alandi is the place where Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj has taken Sajiva Samadhi. He entered in under and they closed it outside, and he is thought of meditating inside. Sajiva Samadhi. So there is a tradition there. From Pune, there are at least about 1.5 to 2 lakh people that walk all the way through the forest. It is called Varkari Sampradaya. From Pandharpur to Alandi, they walk. In unison, they all chant Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hari. They have all these musical instruments. I imagine 1.5 to 2 lakh people walking. There is no traffic jam. They do not go through the main roads. They take all the village routes and travel from Pandharpur to Alandi. Way back in 95, I had the good fortune to walk with one such group who was leading that entire 1.5 to 2 lakh people. And our group, when we went with him, we got nicely associated. He had a lot of love for us. And the one who is leading, that Sant Maharaj, their sampradaya is not a sannyasa sampradaya. They get married, they live a grihastha life, but completely soaked in devotion. This Sant Maharaj never had a child. It so happened that there was a child that was lost. They tried finding out entire route of theirs to identify whose child was it, who that child belonged to. They could not identify. So this Sant Maharaj said, I will adopt him and raise him as my own. Turned out, I did meet that young child as well. Turns out that he had the most melodious voice, amazing singer. Throw any instrument at him, traditional instruments, new instruments, he would just pick those instruments like that. And when he would do the Bhagavad Gita, he was like 13, 14 years, 15 years max. People would be with rapt attention listening to him, mesmerized, not moving for 3-4 hours at stretch. Unfortunately, when he reached the age of about 15 or 16, there was something that happened. He could not be medically saved. He died. As soon as I realized that I got that information, I was in Vijayawada. I ran to meet him the very next day. Took a bus and went to the place where he was living. He was very somber. He was very composed. The nearby villages, as soon as they come to know of this particular incident, Village by village, like hundreds of them from each village started arriving. And suddenly, up until then, that Mahatma Ji, that Santa, he was very composed. As soon as he saw this scores of people coming, he started crying out loud. In fact, there was one from my own batch. Both of us were looking at each other and saying, we were baffled. Ab tak to theek the. He was talking to us very normal and from a very Vedantic standpoint, how to take the loss. He was explaining all of it. Suddenly he started crying. We were completely zapped. It was confusing for us. After the whole day passed by, everybody went back. See, the last rites were already done. We had reached one day late. After everybody was gone, after the night dinner was done, we were sitting on the top of his terrace with 3-4 cots and we were ready to sleep. He always had this knack. He would turn to us and say, ab pucho sawal. If he knew that we had something to ask, he would turn to us and say, now ask your questions. So he turned. तुम्हारे दिमाग में जो खलबली है ना, पूछो अभी, ask. So he said, obviously, up until that moment you were talking to us with such normal sense, suddenly you started crying. So he looked at us and said, Dekho Baba, I am not blessed with the clothes that you guys are wearing. I am living a grihastha life. And these villagers don't understand the manasthiti of somebody who is established. And if a grihastha is not crying, they will feel worried. For their sake, I expressed my true emotions of missing my son. But in reality, that is how Lord wanted, that He provided that child for about 15 years and we raised that child. And now that child's job in this world is done. Chanting the Harinama, he left. Now what more can a father ask? That the son, while chanting Harinama, passes away. He has reached the highest. I have no doubt about it. So therefore there is no glani inside. There is no dukkha inside. But those tears, it was as a solace for those villagers. They required that tears so that they could resonate with me. Meaning, from the inside, with regards to these emotions, dukkha, they are not disturbed by it. It's another experience. That experience comes and it goes away. And while there is a lot of sukha around, they don't forget where their mind has to be anchored in, so that it doesn't get lost in this paltry pleasures of life. Dukkheshu anudvigna manaha, sukheshu vigata spruhaha. They have not lost their, हिंदी में कहते हैं, जो अपने मन का आपा ना खोए. That who has not lost the balance from within, such one. Vitaraga bhaya krodhaha sthitadihi munihi uchchate. Further continuing in explaining this sthita prajna lakshana, in the 57th shloka, repeat after me. Yas sarvatra nabhisnehaha. Sorry, I should have mentioned the page number 331. Yas sarvatra nabhisnehaha tat tat prapya shubha shubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. Such individuals, buddhi is understood to have been settled well in the core of their own being. Pratishtita. Tasya prajna pratishtita. Who are such people? So he says, Yaha sarvatra anabhisnehaha tat tat prapya shubha ashubham na abhinandati na dveshti. The choice of words that Bhagavan is picking to explain is so apt and beautiful. Yaha sarvatra anabhisnehaha. If you look at it, we say in the last shloka we saw likes and dislikes. In fact, there is no two things of like and dislike. I like certain things and I like to be away from certain things. Can we put it that way? That which I put in the category of I do not like, I like to be away from it. Basically, it is ordained by my internal environment. If that environment, that which I am experiencing it, suits me or not. If it doesn't suit, I go away. If it suits, I go for it. But this individual is such one wherein anabhisnehaha, they are not attached to anything. They reject nothing. They do not cling on to anything. Neither reject nor cling on to anything. Otherwise, many of us in our own little understanding start giving too much of value to too many things unnecessarily. See, for those of us who have been living in the hustle and bustle of the city, traffic, pollution, sound, suddenly you come into this gate in the ashram, in this temple. Do you hear any sound? Do you hear any kind of disturbance? As soon as you come to this pleasant environment, it feels, Swamiji, there is something in this place. The vibration is amazing here. Don't we hear people say that? That the vibration is beautiful, the environment is positive, it is so spiritual. It has got nothing to do with the outside. It is all the mental makeup. In certain places where there is no disturbance, we attribute that peace of mind to the place, to the environment. If in this very place they had to continue staying, they will start identifying all the flaws in this particular place. Because now the mind has gotten acclimatized to that environment, they'll start finding faults. But because they are just a visitor, they feel, kya badhiya hai. And that is what happens when we go to the Tirtha Kshetras also. Essentially, everything that which is nothing but divine in nature. Isn't it? Whatever has been created is an expression of that Ishvara alone. There cannot be even an ounce of thing that can be considered as something which is anishvara, that which does not have Ishvaratva in it. Whether it is chara or achara, whether it is sentient or insentient, it is the very expression of that Paramatma, Parabrahma Tattva. But because my mind cannot see that Paramatma everywhere, that which has always been there, we have been given certain props in certain environments, in certain situations. You come to the temple and there is a sanctified environment, there is the Garbhagriha. In that Garbhagriha, there is the Ishvara placed in Saguna Sakar, a beautiful carved format, and you look at it and the bhava of the mind tunes in. That does not mean that the rest of it is not Ishvara. When the boy falls in love with a girl and says, your eyes, they are so beautiful. नीली सी झीली आंखें. गाना याद आया? कोई राज है इनमें गहरा. हाय हाय हाय. Your eyes, bewitching eyes. You mean to say that the rest of it that fellow doesn't like? It just means that that becomes the very focal point of the entire presence of the being. Similarly, there is the temple or Tirtha Kshetra where the entire focal point becomes that Ishvara. The rest of the places, our mind is not yet equipped to tune to that Ishvara which is always present. Not understanding this, we divide the entire world into good, bad, positive, negative. From that Ishwariya standpoint, there is nothing good, nothing bad. There is only essential divine. Am I getting across? In Purusha Suktam, you take, what does Purusha Suktam say? Purusha ye vedagam sarvam yad bhutam yaccha bhavyam. Everything that which is nothing but that Purusha alone. Again, the feminists, please don't take out your janda and say this is all against women. Purusha there has got nothing to do with sex and gender. Purusha, by definition, there is Purnatvat Purushaha, that which essentially is complete unto itself. That is called Purusha. And this entire creation, that which was, that which is, that shall be, is that Ishvara alone. We chant the mantra here, Namaste astu Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Trambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikalagnikalaya Kalagni Rudraya. He is that which is beyond time, Kalatita. And yet he is the Trikalagni, the one who is present in all three formats of time, past, present and future. So essentially everything is divine. But the mind functions in the realm of dualities and polarities. If my mind is still in that realm of dualities, to constantly evaluate that this is all in the good, this is all in the bad, there is nothing essentially good or bad. Essentially, it is only divine. Remember, I always keep asking this question. A sharp knife, is it good or bad? So there are a few group of them, they would say both. There are few who say it depends. Right? Both have not understood the question. The knife as such by the material is neither good nor bad. It just is. The moment you say that it depends on who uses it, you are talking about the utility value of the one with the intention of using it. My question was not about the intention. My question was about the knife as such. It is neither good nor bad, it just is. But the mind, it loves to work in the field of dualities. ఇది బాగుంది, ఇది బాలేదు. ये बहुत अच्छा है, ये ठीक खराब है. And the mind loves to live in the realm of branding everyone, everything, every environment. Constantly. I'm sure while listening, you are also branding. प्रवचन अच्छा है या ठीक ठीक है, एकदम बेकार है. See, all these get posted on the internet. And once you post it on the internet, you don't have control on who will comment what. कभी कभी तो ऐसे कमेंट्स आते हैं कि सदमा लग जाए. So somebody commented, sheer waste of 1.5 hours. That is how the mind works. That it can function, it can revel only when it can brand the environments, brand the experience into polarities. And it is so flaky in its nature, that which it has branded as good, it can instantly turn it around and make it bad. Hasn't it happened? That if my mood is not great, that which I like, I immediately say, I am not interested in it. If the mood becomes better, I am interested in it. It keeps changing its standpoint. But this individual is that one who does not judge the world into polarities. What a conscious life that individual must be living. They will not judge the individual or the environment or the experience. They will allow it to unfold, see for what it is worth, experience it without branding it as good or bad. It was an experience. Nothing beyond that, nothing below it. Anabhisnehaha does not mean that they are completely disinterested with the world. There is neither interest nor disinterest. They are not running for something, they are not running away from something. If something unfolds, they are not like, I am a sadhaka, therefore I will close my eyes, close my ears, close my mouth, close everything. No, not necessary. It is for that individual whose mind is still functioning in good and bad, they would have to put the effort to avoid bad and constantly maintain good. Initial baby steps, which is a requirement. But for this individual, he does not look at the world as good or bad. Another experience of Swami Vivekananda ji, I think he was in Rajasthan, if I am not wrong. The king who hosted Swamiji, he said, today in the evening, we have Sangeet. There is a lady that will come and sing. And he said, as a sadhu, it would not be befitting for a sadhu to be in such kind of mehfil. You guys enjoy it, I will be in my room. Then this lady who comes to know, she was actually excited that what an opportunity in my life that who goes to this house to house singing today has the opportunity to sing in the rare presence of a Mahatma. So she came excited with that kind of a mindset. But then Vivekananda ji completely avoided it. Then she sings, Hari more avaguna chitna dharyo. Yes, I come with a package. There are guna, there are avaguna. Please do not reject me because I have avaguna. And that song pricks the very conscience of Vivekananda ji, and he walks out of his room, sits there and listens to the rest of her songs. And there, after that, Amma sings, she says, I have nothing else to give. I have this cloth that I wear on my head to wrap my head. I offer that at your feet. And it so happened that it was ochre color with some print on it. Since that day, to remind himself that nothing has to be avoided because it is good or bad, it is all divine, it has to remind himself of it. He starts wearing the turban of the cloth, reminding him of that experience. That if the mind is still reveling in dividing these experiences into good and bad, I have not yet reached there. May my mind be consciously reminded of it daily. Therefore, as a remembrance of that lady who reminded me of that divine, I will wear it on my head always. Shirodhariya. Imagine if a great Mahatma like Vivekananda ji also can slip and divide the world in good or bad. अपना क्या बोले हम? How much more consciously, how much more effortfully that we have to live to not brand this world. So what should be the sadhana that we should learn? Refuse to brand the world or people around us in terms of good or bad. Treat with reverence, treat with love, treat with empathy. I am not somebody that have reached to the highest to have the capacity to, or to have the capacity to evaluate somebody is good or bad. If you have already reached there, that mind has already become silent. It does not look in the terms of good and bad. Anabhisneha has this depth of meaning. It does not mean that it is a dry environment wherein they are not touchy about anything. They don't want to indulge in anything, or they don't want to be interacting with anything. They would definitely interact with the world, and yet not divide the world into polarities. It does not mean that they will not recognize what is happening in front of them. And yet, their love towards the fellow being or the world will not diminish. They will maintain that love towards everyone impartially. Anabhisneha. It is their attitude towards the world. Now, what about the attitude of that which is happening to them? Tat tat prapya shubha ashubham. We would call it as shubha and ashubha. From his standpoint, it is always divine alone. You might have heard this story that in some hills there was this small hamlet which was being led by a very wise person. He was married, he did not have a child. After several years, he had a child, but he was born with polio. So the entire hamlet came and they came to give solace to this person. Don't lose hope. At least you have a child, but his leg is not that great. He is born with polio. Ashubh hai, kya kare? And his only thought inside was, it is neither Shubha nor Ashubha. He knows what is best for me. Then within about 10-12 years, the king who was ruling that entire area was scouting for people, able-bodied people, to join the armed forces. So he sent his emissaries. They picked up every able body in that hamlet, left this fellow because he had polio right since birth. So the entire villagers came to this head of the village and said, actually we thought it was Ashubha. You have, it seemed like luck has turned to you, that your son is the only one that stays back, whereas our children go into the war, not knowing what will happen. One day, one horse that this village had, this son was riding it. Both go missing, the son and the horse. They don't return. Again the villagers come and say, what Ashubha? And what does this villager think inside his own heart? There is nothing Shubha or Ashubha. He knows best what is for me. After a fortnight, the son along with the horse come back with wild horses, a whole troop of it, about 30-40 wild horses. People may evaluate things as Shubha or Ashubha. There is nothing called Shubha or Ashubha for a sadhaka. Every single experience that happens unfolds into us as an experience is a stepping stone towards spirituality. How many of you believe in horoscope? The rest of you think it is a horoscope? In the Jyotisha Shastra, where they talk about the Sadesati, 7.5 years. Sadesati किसकी लगती है? शनि. यो शनि. In fact, in the Jyotisha Shastra, when they write, they say, from the materialistic standpoint, Shani Dasha is supposed to be bad because Shani rips away everything that you are attached to. Therefore, we say Shani Dasha is the most painful one. For a sadhaka, it helps to remove all the obstacles. That which you are attached to, Bhagavan helps through the Shani Dasha to grow out of it. It will be ripped away. So is it good or is it bad? Depends on where you are standing to look at it. It is neither good nor bad. Stop branding the experiences as Shubha or Ashubha. Everything is a blessing provided you understand how to look at it. There will be the world and its worldliness that will try to pounce upon you to pull you down by their standards of understanding and say this is good or this is bad. It's neither good nor bad. Your prarabdha unveiling itself as your experience. It is up to you how you face it and grow. I'll tell you the last ultimate beautiful example. No father ever had treated his son like how Hiranyakashipu treated Prahlada. Agreed? Every possible method in the book. Whenever they talk about these mafia, don and people, they talk about the secret black book. The first secret black book must have been written by Hiranyakashipu. 101 ways to kill my own son. Authored by Hiranyakashipu. He tried every single method. His own biological son, not even a Dattaputra. His own son, he tried killing in every possible method. Then we know the story. The story says that Hiranyakashipu challenged the very presence of that Bhagavan. Bhagavan came through the pillar as Narasimha and vanquished Hiranyakashipu. Now, Bhagavan has drawn Prahlada closer to his heart, made him sit on his lap. And that dialogue in Bhagavatam is so beautiful, enchanting. Bhagavan is saying, Beta, ask for a boon. Prahlada says, I have nothing to ask. Bhagavan is saying, Ayayo, don't tell like that. If I have taken an avatara, I have to bless and give a boon. You have to ask. Please ask of me something. And Prahlada in his innocence, he looks at Bhagavan and says, I have you, what else do I need? I don't need anything, I have nothing to ask. Third time around, Bhagavan again insists. Here we are waiting for an opportunity. Bhagavan, ek opportunity de do. We have so much to ask. And here is Bhagavan asking his devotee, please ask a boon. He says, I have nothing to ask. When Bhagavan asks the third time, Out of Sishtachara, Prahlada says, if at all I have to ask of a boon, O Bhagavan, people think that my father was Bhayankara towards me, did all atrocities to me. Therefore, he will be going to Shashvata Naraka. If that is the case, let me put my case forward. I actually feel blessed to have such a father, because of whose insistence I now have the opportunity to sit in your lap. If those are called atrocities that has brought me closer to you to sit in your lap, I don't know what else can be called as dushkarma. I see it as only punya karma. That which every father should do to his son to take his son closer to Bhagavan. And I do understand that whatever he has done, it is not he doing unto me, it is he doing to his own prarabdha. May you forgive him for his act and his prarabdha. I hold nothing against my father who is Hiranyakashipu. I am not asking it on behalf of him as a son. I am asking it as a jiva. May he be relieved of all that burden. Because I don't see it as papa karma. I see it as that beautiful punya karma that has brought me closer to you, sitting in your lap. That which many sadhus after several janmas of tapas don't get it, I got it in one janma because of one father. Can you look at the perspective? He had not an iota of negativity towards his father. And the modern day psychology says, the child is behaving like this because of some childhood trauma. प्रहलाद की स्टोरी सुनाओ, बकवास मत सुनाओ. That is how the mind has to be prepped. That beta, you look at life, that every experience has to be seen as something that has come to teach, something that has taught you how to grow. If you think that Bhagavan has dropped you, either have the faith that he is the one that is going to catch you, or he is the one that is trying you how to fly. Both ways you are benefited. Don't despair. Don't look at it as a bad experience, negative experience. And then build up all the pressure saying, there's so much of negativities in my life. Negativity is that mind which is not in control. Nothing else. Rechannelize it, repurpose it to see that every step of it is nothing but taking us close to the divine, provided I am tuned in, provided my mind is tuned in. Yat sarvatra nabhisneha tat tat prapya shubha shubham na abhinandati na dveshti. Remember, Gurudev, his beautiful words are captured in a volume called Evergreen Messages. There, one of the sayings of Gurudev, he says, which is in relation to the second line, Na abhinandati na dveshti. There is nothing to be lost in enjoyment and nothing to be scared about hating anything. So he says in that beautiful statement, there is nothing wrong in enjoying the worldly pleasure, provided you know that it is not going to be permanent, it is going to be a fleeting mere presence. You understand that it is a fleeting presence and be ready for it to be moving away. You are in samasthiti. But what do we do? When an experience unfolds, we are not ready for the newness. By the time we make our minds up and then get settled in that, By the time we settle in, that experience is already moving away. We are now clinging onto it, hoping that it doesn't go away. Neither lose your balance because it is joyous, nor hate the moment because it is. There's nothing worth hating in this world. If at all we can make that a sadhana. You may not want it, you may not like it, but there is nothing worth hating in this world. However it may be, whoever it may be. It's a very strong emotion, a very strong vasana that we create, which will keep us binding. It will not affect the person that we are hating. It is in turn binding me alone. Na abhinandati, na dveshti. Then what is the kind of mindset? Whatever it is. Agate swagatam kuryat. Nirgate na nivarayet. If it comes, one thing that we observe as a Hyderabadi, there are very few things very unique about every Hyderabadi. Any past, whether it is yesterday, day before yesterday, few years ago, few decades ago, what do we refer to it as? अरे परसों ही तो हुआ था, अरे परसों ही. And second, for everything that happens or doesn't happen, there are always a group of friends that say, चल पार्टी करते हैं. होता है कि नहीं? That is the same attitude that we have to bring. Agate swagatam kuryat, nirgate nanivarayet. If things happen and they come unfold as our experience, celebrate. If they leave, celebrate. That is why every Mahatma's birth is celebrated in its all grandeur, and their demise is also celebrated. What did Gurudev say when we all knew that he would be quitting the body pretty soon? Don't let your eyes swell up in tears and insult the Vedanta that I have been teaching you. I may not be available in this one chamber. Getting out of this limitation, I will be available in multiple chambers. Their presence is a celebration. Their leaving this body, that also is a celebration. Every year, in the birthplace of Tyagaraja, what do we celebrate? Tyagaraja, Aradhana, Mahotsava, grand celebration. Remembering him for all the contribution to bhakti, to literature, to music. That one individual, how much he has contributed. We celebrate his contribution. We don't cry. Agate swagatam kuryat. Nirgate, it is leaving. That also, don't stop. Celebrate it. Another last statement which Gurudev would say, there are always two kinds of people that give us happiness. One, those who come to give happiness, and two, those who leave to leave us with happiness. Which category do you want to belong interacting with the world around? Are you the one that wants, when you come, that you bring happiness, or are you the one that people are eagerly waiting for leaving so that they can be happy? There is nothing that needs to be taken seriously. It has to be taken sincerely. So if people say, Swamiji, you never take us seriously. Then yes, it has to be taken sincerely only. Seriousness brings a pressure. Sincerity unfolds pleasure. Don't hold on to it and don't refuse to let it go. Leave the door of your heart open. Let it come, let it go. Don't hold on to anything. Nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. There is an example taken for our understanding. What is the example? In the 58th shloka, 334 page number. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani va sarvashaha indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. Yada samharate chayam. That day when you destroy the habit of chai in your life. Yada samharate chayam. Bhagavad Gita is saying that day when you give up the habit of chai. So on this, when we were as brahmacharis in the Vedanta course, we sometimes get the opportunity to take the stage to present something hilarious, humorous as skits. So we created something called Maya Panchakam. There is a beautiful stotra written by Adi Shankaracharya ji. The title was same, but we created a parody. And one of the key lines there was Kastarati Kastarati Maya Yatyajati Chaya. Who will transcend Maya? The one who has the will to give up Chaya. Yada Samharate Chayam. No, that is not the meaning. Yada Samharate Cha Ayam Kurmongani va Sarvashaha. Kurmaha angani iva sarvashaha. Just like the tortoise, how many limbs does it have? 4 legs, 1 head, 1 tail. As soon as it feels a threat from the outside, what does it do? It withdraws all its limbs into that secured environment, not allowing the outside to impact it. Yada samharate cha ayam kurmaha, just like the tortoise that withdraws all its limbs from any kind of threat. Similarly, this Mahatma does not avoid the world of experience, does not get scared because of the world or its worldliness. Where should the filters be? Log कहते हैं ना, my son is actually 24 karat gold, Swamiji. It is the company that destroyed him. It is his friendship that destroyed him. And my ask is, if your child is really a 24 karat gold, those who were in association with your fellow, they should have been transformed. ये उल्टे लेने के देने क्यों पड़ रहे हैं? It reminds me of a young child. The father was telling, son, early bird gets the worm. So he told his father, I don't know about you, dad, but I am very clear. I don't want to be eaten. Let me sleep. Why think in the wrong direction? If there is an environment outside that environment is not the trouble for us. It is our inability to filter it. It is because we allow it impact that we get disturbed, not because of its presence or absence. So sadhana does not mean that I completely withdraw in some seclusion, somewhere away, where nothing is disturbing. Wherever you go, you are there. You are the major disturbance to yourself. In the 6th chapter, Bhagavan himself will say that. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu, atmaiva ripuratmanaha. You are your own worst enemy. So sadhana does not mean that I have to completely be shy away from the world, scared of the world. People get that, the initial nasha of claiming themselves to be in spiritual mindset. I don't these days go to such things. Those are beneath me. I have now become a sadhak. Sadhaka doesn't mean that you have rights to brand something else outside as low. That is not sadhakatva. You may be in its presence, you may not be in its presence, not allowing that world to make you worldly. That is called sadhakatva. How long will you keep in the name of sadhana, avoiding the world and keeping yourself in seclusion? That is not the natural disposition of a jiva. This is rainy season, right? When it rains, nobody can predict. But every time it rains, do I have to get wet? Why are you not going outside? Swamiji, rainy season, I don't know when it will rain. So I might get wet. Therefore, I am sitting in, I don't want to get wet. Is that a wise man's standpoint? What should the intelligent do? Carry an umbrella, carry a raincoat, or get safely into your car, get into the garage, get outside. You don't even need an umbrella. The world will have the rainy situation. To allow my mind to be wet by it or not is a choice that I have to make. How can I end up blaming the world and its worldliness for my inconsistency of sadhana? Just like the tortoise, as soon as it sees, it pulls its limbs away. Similarly, the sadhaka, indriyasyarthe, that indriyas, he pulls it back. He filters it out. There's a beautiful mantra, Bhadram karne bhishrunuyama devaha, Bhadram pashye makshabhirya yatraha, Sthirai rangai estushtuva gunsastanovihi. We all have heard it. Karnebhihi is a plural. Like Ramaha, singular. Ramau, dual. And Ramaha, plural. Karnebhihi is plural. How many ears do we have? Normal? 2. How many eyes do we have? 2. There is no plural. It has to be dual. What is the mantra trying to indicate? Though your eyes see, what you end up perceiving is your choice as to how you filter it to take that which will be productive for you and your growth. Whenever Guruji came to teach us, he used to give us the example. Just like how you filter out Vedanta and do not allow it to impact you, that is how you have to deal with the world. The world of happenings cannot be stopped. Who is an efficient driver? Swamiji, I can drive beautifully in the school ground, football ground. That fellow is to be least trusted. Who is good driver? The one, in spite of the Hyderabad traffic, can weave through successfully from point A to point B. That fellow is a good driver. Where, in spite of the traffic, you are safe, the traffic is safe, and you reach to your destination in the quickest possible way. Isn't it? Similarly, in the field of life, the world is not going to stop for us. The worldliness is not going to withdraw. It is my ability to withdraw my organs and filter the things out so that it does not create an impact of worldliness in me. Just because I am in samsara, I don't have to become a samsari. I can always protect. Do you know how to cut open a jackfruit? Has anybody cut a jackfruit? हिंदी में उसका अच्छा नाम है cut hull. You have to cut it with a solution. Hull मतलब solution है ना. You have to apply oil on the knife, oil to your hands, and then cut it open. Otherwise, there is that white liquid sticky which will stick to your hand, stick to the knife. Once you have protected the layer, that sticky layer will not touch you. Similarly, this attitude and tattva, the same thing will be taught even in Bhakti Yoga later as the mind soaked in devotion. Here, the mind is soaked in absolute discrimination wherein that worldliness is filtered outside. Nothing of it can come inside to disturb. But many, not understanding this technique, what do? They try to shut themselves away from the world and think they have grown out of the worldliness. That is a failure. Why? That is taken up in the next shloka. He says, Vishaya vinivartante Niraharasya dehinaha Rasavarjam rasopyasya Param drishtva nivartate. The example that is taken, just because the body is not, or the sense organs are not indulging, I have brought them forcefully out, doesn't mean or doesn't make me a sadhaka. That is only a temporariness. Many of us do these temporary sadhanas. On Somvar, I worship Shiva, therefore I withdraw from eating. Nirjala. What does Nirjala mean? I will not eat anything that is burnt. Nahi. Jala I will not even take a sip of water. That one day. In preparation for that one day, the previous day, in anticipation of a whole day long fasting, Sunday night, dabake. And then Tuesday morning, whole of yesterday I did not have food. Therefore, Tuesday morning, dabake. Then that one day is gone for a mere waste. Then there are those that take the vrata of Mauna. Oh, in the ashram while we are studying, we get all kinds of samples to watch. I'm sure Swamiji remembers. They will take a vrata that on certain days I will not speak. It is such a hilarious environment to just hang out and watch them. Frustration galore. So they will carry a book, they'll carry a pen, they'll carry pages, and then that which they cannot communicate with, just suggestions, they will write. And in their hadbadi of writing, the spellings are wrong, the handwriting is not right. And the person who is not understanding, their frustration keeps increasing. These temporary sadhanas is not the way. Trying to say that I have now withdrawn. This temporariness will have a whiplash effect. The moment the organs of perception action are let loose again in the world, it will take its revenge for having avoided for that longer period. For a person that is suffering with fever, usually when you are suffering with fever, because of the higher temperature, your tongue loses its sapidity, moisture. And when the tongue loses the sapidity, anything that you throw on that will taste tasteless. So you tell them, please eat. That does not mean that that fellow has vairagya. The moment the temperature goes down, what is the first thing that they will ask? Because you want them to maintain a certain patyam. A certain specific diet, which is almost like Nirguna Nirakara Parabrahma Paramatma. There is no spice in it, there is no ruchi in it, there is nothing in it. Maybe a little bit of pinch of salt. A little bit of. Not the entire avakai. That mango piece, wash it, remove all the oil and the spice, that one. And why? After having eaten that with the little whatever, the liquidy things that they drink, the avakai comes with the shell inside. That goes inside. Do you think that rasa has gone away, that they have become completely grown out of the taste buds? That was a temporary phase. Similarly is these temporary sadhanas wherein we think by doing it for one day in a month, we have grown and we have become sadhaka. That doesn't work that way. It is not a bout that happens once in a while. It is like the medication that has to be taken with regular intervals. Sadhana is not about one time doing something major. Once in a lifetime, sitting and doing 108 times Hanuman Chalisa. I have become Hanuman Bhakta. That is not Hanuman Bhakta. It is to do that sadhana every single day, disciplined, withdraw your mind, withdraw your organs of perception action in that particular time, every single day, rain or shine, fever or no fever, sit there with Bhagavan and do your 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it be. But doing it consistently, that is what makes sadhana. After having learned sadhana, I've seen people come to Guruji. Swamiji, I started doing japa. Now, what else to do as sadhana? I don't know if you ever have seen Guruji with such environment. Karte raho. Now, keep doing it consistently. Consistency is the key. Once in a while, in a bout of doing it is not considered sadhana. It may be a good beginning, but that is not the end of all. Consistently doing daily, doing your yoga abhyasa, yogasana abhyasa, doing your pranayama, doing your japa, doing your reading Bhagavata or Ramayana or Bhagavad Gita, one scripture at least per day. Sitting quietly for 5-10 minutes without you being the disturbance for the rest of the world. Allot certain time and be consistent with it. Otherwise, doing this once in a while, thinking that now I have gained sadhana, that doesn't work that way. Because the moment you get out of it, the organs of perception action are back into their routine, completely joined with the worldliness. And then it is our own regrets. Why go till sadhana? Every New Year's Day, we stand in front of the mirror. We see our own self. And then standing in front of the mirror, कुछ करना पड़ेगा. I will now exercise and eat healthy, eat timely. How many days does it work, that resolution? 1 week, few days, and then we are back to the square one. It is not to do something elaborate for one day. It is doing whatever little, but doing it consistently for a long time. That is what trains my mind, trains my organs of perception action to withdraw diligently without slipping. That is the key. Whenever we talk about Vishwamitra, we often talk with a sense of ridicule. That, Vishwamitra, he fell so many times. The Apsarasa, he fell, then Trishanku was the... So what is more important is the moment he realized he fell, he slipped up, he went back vigorously into sadhana. The 3 times he falls. But what is more important is all 3 times he consistently put the effort to grow back and never ever to repeat the same mistake again. That is the story that we have to learn. We don't have the capacity to ridicule that Mahatma. So here in this shloka, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. It seems as though all the Vishayas of the organs of perception have withdrawn because of the temporariness. But then, once you are out of that kind of a discipline, the Indriyas are rushing into the world. The only time when the Indriyas have lost the taste for worldliness, Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Once the antakarana, the mind equipment, has abided in its own self, has now the taste of its own true nature, then it does not crave for the world of things around. Until then, a strict, disciplined approach of sadhana is a must. You're not trying to run away from the world, you're not trying to avoid the world. When it comes, you are now applying effective, efficient filters not to allow it impact. Till when? Till that mind turns within completely and settles in its own true nature. Until then, this sadhana has to be consistently applied without fail. If I have to exaggerate it, sadhana's consistency should be to the nature of our breathing. Is breathing optional? रोज सांस ले लेके थक गया मैं आज 2 घंटे मैं आराम लेता हूं. I will not breathe. There is no option. Similarly should be the consistency of sadhana. It is not something that I give up or choose to do once in a while. I do it regularly with consistency and discipline. And that discipline of consistency is what is going to yield the result. Not sudden bouts of it. Am I getting across? Then he continues. Why should this be taken this seriously and repetitive approach has to be there? He says in the 60th shloka, Yatato hyapi kaunteya Purushasya vipaschitaha Indriyani pramathini Haranti prasabham manaha. How does the entire equipment work in interacting with the world outside? We have 5 organs of perception. Jnanendriya, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, taste, and then the skin. Pancha Jnanendriya. Pancha Karmendriya are the speech, the hands, the legs, and 2 excretory organs. Pancha Karmendriya. Then there is the mind and the intellect. Supporting caste. That which supports the mind and the intellect to function is our chitta, memory. There is a sequence of things that happen between Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, Mana, Buddhi, Chitta. For every movement to happen, all of these have to come into picture. The Indriyas are designed in such a way that their very way of functioning is to see outside world. That is how they have been designed. Paranchikhani vyatruna swayambhuhu. That Brahmaji, when he created khani, these Indriyas, to see Paran, other, constantly. That is how it has been designed. Even without the mind reacting to it, the organs, by nature, if there is some movement, the eyes will immediately start following the movement. If there is some sound, immediately our head will turn. If there is no pankha, Supposed to be rainy season, if there is no pankha, at least we will have our handkerchief and move. The organs of perception and action are reactive by nature to the spandana of the outside world of things. That is how it has been designed. I would not call it as manufacturer's defect, but instead it is manufacturer's default setting. That is how it is. Now, to add to this, the indriyas are chanchala with the world outside. Add to this, the mind, which now functions through these indriyas, so that it can cherish and enjoy the field of this material world. The eyes need forms. Through the eyes, the mind needs forms. Through the ears, the mind needs sounds. I am sure between you and your children, you have never come across a good line of understanding. What you consider as good music, do your children consider your music choice as a good music? What do they say? Yeah. What they consider as music, do you consider as music? Yeah. This is nice. For each one its own. We have our own tendencies of liking. So the ear seeks, through the ear, the mind seeks sounds. So through each sense organs, the mind is constantly dragging itself out into the world constantly. And this mind has this tendency to enjoy things. Buddhi, poor fellow, with whatever information that fellow has, is consistently trying to give the right track of decision. Who is overriding the buddhi? The mind, along with the organs of perception action, is completely overriding the buddhi, and the buddhi is not efficient enough because it does not have Shakti. We use two words, willpower. There is will, buddhi is there, but it lacks the power. We have never encouraged to give that power to our own buddhi. It makes a very feeble attempt once and then it is crushed aside, thrown aside. What takes over is the mind. And when the repercussions of it hit us back, the mind gets a whip from the outside world. The buddhi meekly tries to say, bola tha na, sunne ka tha na. Why did you? What creates the layer of guilt, remorse and regret? It is this buddhi not heeded to, that mind now regrets. I should have listened to my buddhi. I should have done what I thought was. I thought like this. So at every single layer, what is happening? The mind is given more power, the buddhi has been weakened. Therefore, Bhagavan is saying, haranti prasabham manaha, indriyani pramathini, haranti prasabham manaha. The organs of perception action have become addicted to its own field of likabilities of their field of vastu. Mind has become a slave to those addictions. And buddhi lacks the strength. Story of every jiva. Each one of us, there is the same story. Swamiji, what to do? My mind is so disturbed. I don't have focus. I have these habits that they always are distracting. Everybody, some share, some don't share. Everybody, घर घर की कहानी है ये. Everybody is going through the same thing. Because we have never employed techniques to strengthen that buddhi. See, when the scripture says, spend every day at least 15 minutes in front of your altar trying to do that japa. What does that japa do? Strengthen this buddhi from inside. Read the scripture. What does that clarity do? Strengthen this buddhi from inside. Practice mauna 5 minutes a day in silence, sit down. What does it do? It gives that room for that buddhi to repair itself so that it can channelize its strengthened energies into the right course. We seldom pay attention to it. Earlier, when a barber shop, there were no, these disposable blades were not available. They call it the straight blade. It's a piece of metal that needs constant sharpening. Do you remember those days, the barber shop? They used to have just one blade and then they would have a sharpening stone, whetstone, and they would sharpen it, and to remove the rough edges after sharpening, they would have a leather belt. On that leather belt, they would, हर नाई के पास होता था ये. After every shave, it has to be sharpened. The naai cannot say, the barber cannot say, I sharpened it yesterday. Then it will not be called as shaving, it will be called ploughing. For the shave to be smooth, the blade has to be sharp. And that abhyasa has to be done with every single shaving. Similarly, the mind is up, it is active, it is running into the world. Before it can go into the world, what do we require? Strengthen the buddhi, sharpen the mind, discipline the organs of perception, action. With that contained system, then enter into the world. And what is the first thing that will get knocked out of the list of to do things in our day? Bhagwan, puja, japa. That gets removed. Therefore the bhajan says, jhoot na choda, मोह न छोड़ा, सत्य वचन क्यों छोड़ दिया, हरि नाम भजन क्यों छोड़ दिया. What is the first thing that goes off our list? Bhagwan can always wait. A sadhaka is that who gives that consistent time to sadhana and then relates to the world around, not the other way. In today's modern day and age, what is our main complaint? Swamiji, time nahi hai apne paas. If you cannot take time out for your own welfare and upliftment, who else is going to pay that time? That 5-10 minutes is a must. We'll continue on this tomorrow because there are many more layers to add to it. I've just talked about few layers. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kasyad Dukkha Bhag Bhave, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.